How you doing, Planet FunCon? Excellent. Thank you for coming out to have a Q&A with these esteemed voice actors. So I'm going to give brief introductions and we can get right into questions. On my right, we have Michaela Murphy.
Hello, hi.
Actor and singer, known for many roles, including Toph Beifong in Avatar: The Last Airbender, and Shaka in Kronk's New Groove, Emperor's New School. Then we have Eddie Deason, actor and comedian, known for many roles, including Eugene in the Grease series, and then Mandark in Dexter's Laboratory. And then further right, we have Carlos Alazraqui, actor, comedian, and known again for many roles, including Rocco from Rocco's Modern Life and Spyro of Spyro the Dragon. So what I like to do to begin the panel is kind of ask each of my panelists to give me their origin story, how they got into the business.
Do you want me to go first? I can go first. Okay, cool. Hi guys, Michaela Jo Murphy, also known as Jessie Flower. You will see Jessie Flower in the credits for most of the work that I have done. Origin story. I'll give a brief spark notes of the whole thing. So I was born in southern Indiana, like 20 minutes north of Louisville, Kentucky. So Midwest is very familiar to me. My mom and I moved out to LA when I was 4 because she loved the sunshine and opportunity. And then while I was there, lots of kids were acting, and I wanted to start working as like a 4 or 5-year-old. I was like, how can I like earn some money and like be an existing person? Like I'm just sitting around like doing nothing. What's going on? And I tried to be a bag lady at the local grocery store. They wouldn't let me. They were like, you have to be 14. I'm like, it's too far away. It's not going to work. And so I got started in commercials and theater. And I was like, cool, I can perform and be creative and make some money sometimes. Awesome. And then voice acting came along when I was around 7. I went through an awkward growing phase. A bunch of teeth fell out and I chopped my hair off really short. And so my agent was like, hey, we have this new area called voice acting where you're not on camera. You should maybe try that for a second. Just because I wasn't booking as much right then. And thankfully I could read well and take direction. And when you're a kid, that's kind of all you need to do to be a voice actor. It's like if you can listen and you can read the script they give you, that's you're already doing great in their eyes. So that's when I started, and Finding Nemo was actually my first voiceover gig ever. I just did additional voices with like 6, 7 other kids, and we did all the like baby fish and turtles being like, oh, what's that over there, all that stuff. And then Avatar came along a few years later when I was 11, and I started when I was the voice of Mang in season 1, and then Toph came along for season 2 and season 3. So yeah, origin was just like a lot of luck and hard work, and my mom and I driving all over LA trying to just make it work, and we were lucky that some things did. Lots of them also did not, let me be very clear. So yeah, that's me. What about you?
Yes, hi. My name is Eddie Deason. I was born in Cumberland, Maryland. Let's see, my origin story. So I was a washout in high school. I should have dropped out, but I managed to get through high school. I came out to LA. I started at the Comedy Store. I started at the Comedy Store in the early days. I would perform twice there in West Hollywood. Then I went to Westwood and I bombed. So I realized stand-up comedy isn't for me. I did an old show, I don't know if any of you guys remember, it was called The Gong Show. That was my TV debut. I was on The Gong Show, I got gonged by Paul Williams. I did my stand-up routine. I could never memorize lines. That's why I fell in love with voiceovers. You get to just sit there and read a script. So I would do my routine. I had a little index card. I'd go, hi, this is Eddie Deason. And then I'd go, sure, but will you respect me in the morning? That was the joke. That was my opening joke, so I do my routine. On The Gong Show, I got gonged by Paul Williams. Then my first film was Grease. I lucked out. I went in, I had the original Pee Wee Herman suit. All the guys were dressed like Fonzie, in those days. All the girls were in poodle skirts. But I went in because I just dressed as Eugene. I wore a white ice cream suit and a red tie and white bucks. And then I later became good friends with Pee Wee Herman. I did his first movie with him called Midnight Madness. I always thought he got the outfit from me, and I think he did admit that he did do that, but I got no money out of that. Anyway, I did Grease. It was fun. People ask me what Grease was like. I go, do you remember the greatest party of your life? It was the most fun party. It was like a 2-month party. It was a love fest. I loved John. Olivia Newton-John was an angel. Jeff Conaway tried to get me laid. I was a virgin, and Jeff Conaway tried to get me fixed up with a hooker, and I was scared out of my wits, you know, but it never came to pass. Anyway, I did a bunch of films. I did 1941 with Steven Spielberg. That was Bob Zemeckis' first film. And then that was about, I'm the world's biggest Beatles fan. I'm a Beatles genius, I'm a Beatles expert. I've read like 1,000 books on the Beatles. That was about us going to see the Beatles in 1964. So Bob remembered me years later and he wrote me into the Polar Express. My character's not in the Polar Express, the know-it-all kid. Bob made up the character for me and wrote me in, so I left out with that. And I did, Midnight Madness, Michael J. Fox's first movie. I did a lot of movies over the years. I did a Magnum P.I. with Tom Selleck, and I found the biggest stars, and Michaela's a pretty big star, and she fits into the mold. I found the biggest stars are always the nicest people. You know, the cliche is you see a movie and the big stars are prima donnas, you know, or get away from me. But I found the exact opposite. The biggest stars are the nicest, warmest people. The ones you have trouble with are the small time, the small potatoes. They're the ones that give you trouble. But let's see. I've done a lot of movies in there. I did a lot of TV stuff in there, and that's about it. So next is my good friend Carlos. He's a wonderful, talented guy, and we've worked together over the years.
The biggest stars, whatever. These two dumps. Nicest people, that's dumb.
I gotta add more stories about parties and hookers or something into my origin story. Mine feels so tame. I gotta like spice it up. I don't know, I gotta add more in there.
Yeah. I was a pirate. I got scurvy and I stumbled into Hollywood, see? I always go back to the very beginning. My parents are from South America, from Argentina, so I grew up hearing Carlitos, no me digas, la te que parió. I can't say the rest because it's dirty. But I grew up hearing that dialect, and then my best friend Kevin, his parents were from Glasgow, Scotland. So 5 days a week, I'm over there listening to Auntie Liz going, Carlos, how are you doing today? And Uncle Danny going, Lizzie, let him alone, let him have a boys, your time right now. So that was the infusion of voices and dialects that I wanted to study. Like all of us, we were just fascinated by it because I was a plain California kid. And then I was doing stand-up comedy. In 1991, there was a project called Rocco's Modern Life. Joe Murray, San Jose Mercury cartoon panelist, had an idea. I had a manager that knew a producer. I got an audition. We don't want Australian, we don't want Australian, we don't want Australian. Cut to, hello, my name is Rocco. And then Rocco launched everything else, and off I went and did voiceover. Yo quiero Taco Bell. And Reno 911, and still doing stuff today, which we'll talk about. But that's it in a nutshell. No hookers.
I'm sorry I brought that up.
No, never be sorry for
Jeff
bringing
Conaway
that up.
trying to get me laid.
Always bring that up.
Do I have a girl for you to meet, Eddie?
Wait, did you just say a Taco Bell thing?
Yes.
Oh my God, what? Help me.
Viva Gorditas, I think I'm in love. So from 1997 to 2000, I was the voice of Gidget, the female dog that represented the Taco Bell
The little
chain.
Chihuahua situation?
Yeah.
What the heck? See, you learn something new every time you come over.
Now you like me. I can't get you free food.
Maybe I
Did you
did.
buy like a mansion from that? Did you get a
I bought a house in the valley from that. And
Really?
in fact, there's a
It's
voice
not like
actress
that
named
anymore.
Debbie Derryberry, Jimmy Neutron, who was living down the street when I was looking for a house, and the actor named Gary Grubbs, a guy from Mississippi who was on the X-Files movie. He said, Gary is moving, and before it goes on the market, I think you should buy this house. So Debbie set me up with my first house in North Hollywood. I did the smart thing. I was frugal. You know, I'm talking to Bill Dog, got all this money. I'm going to buy a mansion in Malibu. Like, gone in a month, can't afford it. It went 3 years.
That was the biggest thing going.
That was the iconoclastic time. It was so...
I'm sorry. I just want to ask one thing. Do you still see Debbie?
I still see Debbie, yes.
I do
Give her
too.
my love.
I will.
I love Debbie. I love the old gang. I miss everybody.
Oh, yeah. And we worked on stuff
I got
together.
sick. I had heart trouble. I had heart surgery. I had open heart surgery. I was born with a heart murmur, and the valve came out in 2020. It changed my life around, and I was put in the hospital. I was put on all these meds, and I got into all this trouble because I was taking Xanax and all this stuff.
Oh, no.
I left LA, and it was a horrible time. But the old gang, Carlos and I used to work with them, these great people, you know, Maurice LaMarche and all these wonderful, talented Tom Kane.
Rob Paulson, and the Jess Harnells, and the
Jess Harnells, and the sweetest,
Terrence,
nicest,
and
and incredibly talented people. These were great days.
Yeah, I will. I'll give Debbie your
Please.
love.
Thanks, Carlos.
I feel like Taco Bell. I mean, it's been around. Anyone here a Taco Bell fan? Yes? Okay. So I feel like it's always been popular, but like in the last couple years, I feel like it's been like re-popularized because I feel like the younger generations are also liking it. And so I feel like there's potential. We gotta bring you back.
Yeah.
We gotta make this happen.
Tell your advertisers.
I'm just gonna find the Taco Bell sponsorship people and be like, listen guys, I got an idea.
I got me an idea.
We should do that.
I'm loving what you're serving up.
Well, did you have any other questions for us? Sorry, we're just riffing.
It's all good.
Keep going.
So on that note, I suppose, you all have played many different characters. What are some characters, like the Taco Bell Chihuahua, that you'd like to revisit?
Yeah. Yeah, one of them is definitely Rocco. We did Static Clean. So anytime there's a potential to bring Rocco back, that would be wonderful. And then something happened with Mucha Lucha. I was doing Mucha Lucha. They wanted to pay a certain amount for a talking doll, which they were going to take a drop from the cartoon and then put it into a doll. We tried to negotiate. That didn't work, and I lost my job to Jason Marsden, who always felt horrible about it, but I said, no, you didn't know. And Jason and I are friends, and so I would love to revisit Ricochet from Pulverizing Pinball, Lucharan, Family, Honor, Tradition, Donuts. So that's one character.
Mine would be Dexter's Laboratory. I did Mandark. I did 21 episodes of Mandark. It was kind of like, whereas these two can do all these different voices, they're very talented and versatile. I do one voice. I'm a one-trick pony, one-trick Jew. So I play the same character. He's a mad scientist. It's a very, you'll see Polar Express, the same shtick all through the years in all my movies, but I do the one voice. But Mandark was fun. I got to play a bad guy. Usually don't play a bad guy. And he was like a mad scientist. And there's a director out there, and you know her, of course, Colette Sunderman. I adore her. She's my favorite director. And this is an unusual thing I've noticed. Carlos, maybe you know the answer to this, or maybe you know the answer to it, Michaela. In movies, the movie world is very sexist. It's like all guy directors, women are always trying to break in. But in the animation world, women directors dominate. There's women directors all over the place, and I never knew what's the reason for that. Why is that, Carlos?
We talked about it. I think that there it is that old boys club, except when you got into features. Pixar started hiring more female directors.
Right.
Andrea Romano famously directed my favorite feature of all time, which is The Iron Giant.
Right.
And me, she was our director for Avatar.
Yeah, in Avatar. Andrea is one of those people that should have been directing all those features, whether they were live action or whether they were animated. But I think Pixar was the first to sort of crack that mold a little bit and have female directors. But I think it's just because it's the old boys club, and no other reason than that I can think of.
Why do women dominate animation? I've worked so much animation. And
you know why? Because they love to tell you what to do. I'm married and I have 2 daughters, and I can say that without...
And they're always right, too. They're always
love
right.
to tell you what to do. You didn't say it right. Say it again. Yes,
When they get upset, they say, I'm fine. And I go, okay, I'll just leave you alone.
No, I think they're very adept, and maybe it's their skill set of being able to interpret a script, have an idea, and work in concert with you. There's not that competition. Maybe with males there'd be more of a competition. Although I will say Tom Kenny directs me on SpongeBob and the Patrick Star Show, and Tom is very detailed and also very forgiving, probably because he has a strong feminine side. So, ironically, but I think it's because we gel more with women than we do with men.
Here's something I just thought of, Carlos. It just dawned on me. What do you think of this? Women are better with kids.
Yeah, and we are
I was
kids.
gonna say.
Women are gentler, they're just better with kids.
I will say with Butch Hartman, sorry, one last thing, and Michaela, the floor is yours. With Butch Hartman, it was always like, no, do it again. Carlos, great take. Why don't you try talent next time? So Butch was tough love.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say the kid thing, but then I was like, well, there are plenty of live action series and films that are male directed, and there are plenty of kids on there, as we have been seeing with all these fun documentaries as of late. But I did think that for a second, but I was wondering, this is gonna be terrible, maybe more women were given those projects because it was just like, oh, here, you do the cartoon thing. Maybe that's how it started. Like they were doing something on camera and they were like really talented females, but they're like, well, just give her the cartoon.
So they were playing
maybe.
That's an interesting
Maybe that's how it started,
Maybe
and
you're
they're good at their jobs,
Yeah.
and so then it just kind of stays. And yes, they are good with kids, so then maybe that's also why they stayed around for some of the younger talent. And I don't know.
Yeah, because we all know Charlie Adler and kids don't mix.
Yeah.
And Charlie's wonderful, but he's very harsh. He has no filter, and so he loves kids. But the language sometimes can be...
he's
a
crazy
intense.
nut job.
He's great though. Love him.
Yes.
We're big head in real life.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'd love to do just to answer the question. Meet the Robinsons was like one of my favorite movies ever, but also that I was in. I love Avatar, but I'm very much not Asian, so I don't think I'm going to be cast in any of the new stuff unless they change their mind on that. So I would love to maybe do, I don't know, even if it was some sort of live action. They keep doing all these live action remakes. I'm like, that would be a good one to do. That one would be cool, I feel like, especially with like AI and all this new technology. That could be the new like dark future, and we could like use that as a reflection of, I don't know, like there's a way to make it current and cool. And then I could play, so I was young Franny in Meet the Robinsons. I could play adult Franny now. Ha! So, I don't know, that would just be fun to revisit.
Excellent, thank you. I'm gonna pivot and open some questions to the audience.
Friends reference, sorry.
We have some questions for our esteemed panelists.
Anybody has any questions about my hookers? Go right ahead.
Yeah. Oh, now it's 2. It's plural. Okay.
Multiple.
I should probably turn off the video.
Hey, I'm the pimp. It's Eddie the pimp.
And feel free to raise your hand. Well, it's probably a small enough room that we can hear you, and if not, we just might have you come up closer. But yeah, go for it.
So what was the hardest role for you to voice?
What was the hardest role for us to voice?
Yes.
Gentlemen?
I think Bane. It was Andrea Romano, and I was new to the canon of Batman. I'm a sports guy, so I was never into comic books. So Andrea Romano said, "You're going to voice this character named Bane." I didn't know the backstory of him at all. She said, and they were true in Legion Doom or whatever. Bane is in Doom, Batman Doom. South American cave. That's where he was born. He's got all these things. He's filled with rage, and so. In terms of knowing how to do it and doing it because they put a filter on it. When we met before, I broke the bat. Today, I break the man. That is really hard for me to do because I'm a little guy like Eddie. So that voice is most taxing. Crocker when he's, there is mother! Rips your throat up. So those 2 were the hardest.
Mine would be, like I said, I always do the same voice. I remember the one that broke my heart the most was Bob Zemeckis is my favorite director. He's like a father to me. Like I said, I did his first film, I Want to Hold Your Hand, with him in '77, and then he wrote 1941, which Spielberg directed us in. It was the first film Spielberg ever produced. I worked with him. Bob and I are extremely close. So he called me in for an audition. This was Who Framed Roger Rabbit. He wanted me to be Roger Rabbit. And I'm dying, I love Bob Zemeckis. He's the greatest director in the world. We all have directors we get along with. It's like anything else in life. There are people you get along with, and Bob's like a father to me. So I went in and I just could not get the handle on it. He goes, Eddie, do this, and I'm trying, I was trying to do something that I'm not Eddie Deason. And I couldn't do the role, and I just got that sinking feeling. It was getting where I could see he wanted me to have it. He was trying, come on, try this, and I could see he was really encouraging me, but I did not get it. And that was my single biggest regret in my career, is that I didn't get to play Roger Rabbit. It was just set up for me. But they didn't want me to play the standard Eddie Deason. Hi, I'm Roger Rabbit. They wanted to do that kind of, whatever Charlie Fleischer did. Charlie brought just what they wanted, and I couldn't give that. So that broke my heart the most. The other one is the showbiz cliche. The hardest one, I don't remember the role, but there was one, there's a thing called the breakdowns. And they go, we want to get a Mark Hamill type, or we want to get a Carrie Fisher type, or a Harrison, or whatever. And there was one, we wanted Eddie Deason type. So my agents called me, they wanted Eddie Deason type. So of course I auditioned, I didn't get the role. It was Eddie Deason type.
Guilty.
I didn't get what they wanted. So that was the most frustrating. And that's how crazy the business is, though. It's totally capricious. It's, whatever's that guy's viewpoint in the office. Sometimes you go in and you give an audition, and you feel like you're Marlon Brando. You feel like that's the greatest thing, and you don't get it. And then I've literally had auditions, I've gone in, and I got home, and they go, my agent goes, how'd it go? I go, that was the worst audition of my life. I was horrible. And he goes, that's funny, they want you to report for work on Monday. So you don't know. It's in their, what's in your head, what's in their head is different. What you hope for is what's in your head is close to what's in their head, and those are the jobs you get.
I've been taking to stray from the question, I've been taking a scene study class for on-camera stuff for the last couple months just because I've been missing it, and I'm hoping to get back into it, so I'm trying to brush up on that. And that's been a lot of what we talked about of stop having an idea in your head, because it's not going to be whatever the heck. They don't even know what the idea they want in their head is, so stop having an idea, just go be. That's the hardest thing, just go be. Brush up on obviously character and connecting with it and blah, 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 but don't go and be like, oh, I'm gonna make sure I dress up and I'm gonna present like this thing and I'm gonna say the line exactly like this, and you just don't, just go be, because that's the highest likelihood. And that's why you feel like you do auditions terribly sometimes, because your brain unplugs. You don't know what you're doing. You feel like you're free falling, and that's what's great about it because it's authentic, and that's probably why they like you. But you also feel like chaos when that happens because you're like, I don't know what's happening, but hopefully you like it. So it's interesting.
So
Famously,
Michaela, in other words, you let the director mold you. You just go in, and the director says, we want, instead of getting the idea in your head, you're just saying, well, I want you to be such and such and such, and then you play. You have to be something.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
But I just go in being authentic Michaela in the world that they have presented, whatever that is. So if I'm 12 years old in a fairy forest, then I'm 12 years old in a fairy forest. Or I'm 12 years old in a fairy forest. Like, whatever. I don't try to, overthink it. That's where I'm at right now.
So good. I hired her for that. You sound like
there are no hookers in the fairy forest.
My hardest, it's funny how I think a lot of our hardest things are when we're screaming. My hardest thing was actually the Melon Lord scene, if you guys recall from Avatar, because I had laryngitis that day, so that was very tricky. We did the Melon Lord line last because I could not scream properly, so we did it in one take, and then the session was over and I couldn't speak anymore. So the whole role though, or I guess actual role, this is very tiny and it's probably not exciting, but I did a couple of NPCs in Genshin Impact for something, and they don't tell you in video games often who you're playing necessarily. Sometimes you might know one character, sometimes not, but they will often be like, you're also going to play villager number 7 and then this random mother, because they're trying to fill in all these background characters. So I went in, they're like, hey, you're playing this part, this part, this part, and you're going to play these 2 twins. And I'm like, no. And they're like, they're a boy and a girl. I'm like, no. And so they're having a conversation with each other, boy and a girl twins. And I'm like, I think this is terrible. I don't think this is going well. I'm not good enough for this. And so I did it, but I don't think it was good. So yeah, that was probably the one session I've ever left where I was like, I think that was bad. I think they probably think I'm a terrible actor because I don't think I did that well at all. So, it happens sometimes.
It happens. Sometimes you're putting this something that's just not your forte or forte as you were, and you're just not hitting.
You would be good at that. I need extremes. I need something that's maybe like this, and then something like this. I need
we all do.
If it's too close.
If it's too close, it's hard. The more disparate the characters are, the easier for sure.
Yeah. To you. Back to you.
Well, I'd like to know a little bit more about why does having the extremes does it make it easier?
You won't fall into each other, won't overlap. I was telling somebody today at the table that Rocco, hello Heather, and Spyro the Dragon, Nasty Nord, and Winslow, hey Canthorpe, and Laszlo are all right there in the pocket, and with just little variations. And what happens is that the animators and everything else makes it seem more disparate than it actually is. It's like, hey Scoutmaster Lumpus, if you see Laszlo, you can see it, I'm gonna go get Nasty Nork. You see that environment. You're like, oh my gosh, I forgot Heather. If you picture different things, it'll seem way more different than it actually is coming out of the throat. So it's getting back to the twins, there's little tweaks that you can do to make it just enough different and then the animators help you make it more disparate than it actually is.
Yeah, I mean, they got what they wanted. We're like, okay, cool, yeah, that works. But in my personal opinion, I was like, no, that was not good.
Yeah.
We took forever to answer your question, so sorry. Any other questions from the audience? Yes.
What do you think about the new Avatar show?
What do I think about the new Avatar show? There is no other Avatar show, just kidding. I think it was good. It was kind of weird.
Cut to her going down the stairs, door closed. I should have asked that question.
Again, I'll turn the camera off.
It was good. It was really weird for the first 2 episodes because I'm so used to seeing it animated. So I was just like, oh, there are real people. Weird. So once I got over that, episodes 3 and 4 were like, okay. I really liked episodes 5 and 6. I thought they were really pretty, and the spirit world stuff was really nice. I don't know. It was fine. I feel like it's hard to make people happy at this point because people are so in love with it. So as long as they didn't do a terrible, terrible job, there is no movie in Ba Sing Se, that's what we say, from 2010 or whatever year that was, then we're good. As long as it's decent, then I feel like we're doing it justice and bringing in a whole new cast of people, whole new producers, all of these people are now a part of the Avatar world. I feel like it's gonna kind of be that moving forward. It's and now who's Toph gonna be? I'm excited, I'm very nervous though. I'm like, come on guys, let's be good, please. Yeah, the open call thing's kind of interesting. I don't know if you guys saw that, but they're doing an open call for the live action Toph. So, yeah, So we'll see what that brings in. We will see. But I thought it was good. Yeah, I was a little nervous, but I feel like it was good. But I mean, the original's the original. It's always going to be. It's always going to be my fave. So, yeah.
Yeah, so who would be, you'd say, is your top influence to getting you into the voice acting career?
Wow.
My agent, who told me I wasn't booking anything else. Aside from that, I watched a lot of Winnie the Pooh growing up. So when I met Jim Cummings for the first time, that was a moment. I finally I kind of understood like the excitement thing, but I grew up in LA, and so like the being starstruck thing was kind of normalized because there were all people just walking around all the time. Like I ran into Miley Cyrus at a frozen yogurt shop one time. Like it was just like, you know. But when I met Jim Cummings, I like didn't know what to do. I was like, "Woo, hi, yay!"
Relax.
Didn't know what to do. I was like, "Do I have him sign a picture? Do I take a picture? Should I have him sign my? What do I do?" I just like was so yeah. So I watched a lot of Winnie the Pooh, and I read Sailor Moon comics. So that was my like early girl, I guess, anime moment. And I watched a lot of Disney. I mean, I used to sing, you know, like Little Mermaid songs, and I loved Tangled. That came along later.
Yeah,
but also musical theater. I think musical theater is probably what did it, because I watched Cats. I know, controversial. The original West End cast on VHS all the time as a kid, and Wicked and Phantom of the Opera, and I was trying to like copy those singing voices. So that's probably where my voice acting technically started, is with like copying singing from like random Broadway people. What about you guys?
I'm like, with the question, I'm painted into a corner because unlike these two guys, they're both so much more talented than me. I also remember I was on camera 20 years before I did voiceovers. I had done like 25 films or whatever. So my career is, I would say it's been like 10% voiceovers, 90% on camera and movies. But to answer your question about my influences, voiceovers, it was just an extension of my character on screen. So my influences were the Three Stooges, Curly Howard's my favorite comedian, early Jerry Lewis with Dean Martin, Laurel and Hardy, you know, all the early ones. I love Buster Keaton, Charlie Chaplin. These are my heroes. These are ones that made me want to go into the business. You know, these are the guys I idolized and loved, and that's what made me into a comedian. So and then voiceover, there's no real answer, just an extension of that.
Yeah, my after school as a kid was, hey, Mr. Racer, sir, I don't think we should do that, Yogi. And Speed Racer, Spikel, Chim Chim, Kimba the White Lion, I used to watch. My 3D BB, tell me, what, Tennessee, what is it, Tennessee? What was the joke? What has one horn and gives milk? What is it, Chumley? One horn and, I know, a milk truck. So all those cartoons growing up, and then preceding Rocko's Modern Life happening, I met Billy West. He used to come in the Alex Bennett show in San Francisco. We were all stand-up comics in SF, and Billy was just a genius. And so meeting Billy, like you meeting Jim for the first time, yeah, Billy's the nicest guy. Yeah, hey, it's nice to meet you too. You know, met him, and then working with Tom and all those guys, and meeting Tara and Gray, and working on the Fairly Odd Parents with Darren and Suzanne Blakesley. This is where I started to develop, watching how good people could be, because I was still pretty green, and watching. So all of those people, Billy West and Tara and Gray, and all of them.
One, Carlos, I just want to ask you a quick question. Tennessee Tuxedo I used to watch. When you were just doing Mr. Whoopi, that's a character?
Yeah.
That is from The Wizard of Oz, right? Is that Frank Morgan? Does it sound just like Frank Morgan?
I think it is. I know, a milk truck. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, why didn't you say to come on inside? Come on.
That's dead on. That's perfect.
Yeah, and it's weird. Oh, God, yeah.
I never thought of it.
And I remember, I still do this to this day. Simon Bar Sinister. Simon says, hit him. You know, these lines that we remember as kids, they're indelible. They float into us. So yeah. You'll find when you get to be my age, I'm probably the oldest person in the room, I'm 67, but you'll find this phenomenon with mine. I will remember these early memories. When I'm 3 or 4, I remember walking the first time. I remember being toilet trained, all these early memories, I swear to God. I remember being burped for the first time. I was surprised I burped. My mom. But I will forget my waiter in the restaurant. You go in the restaurant, was he our waiter, man? And
what room was I in? You were just here an hour ago, stupid.
So you have the compartment for this.
You find your long-term memory is really intact and indelible, but the new stuff, anyway, that's what's going on with me.
Yeah, I feel you. My zipper's up, I know that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Do we have any other questions from the audience? Yes.
Is there any favorite lines of your characters that you've played over the years, voice acting wise? Any favorite lines?
Well, technically, yes, many, and Avatar, of course, is a good one for that, because Toph has so many good one-liners. My favorite episode is The Library, and my favorite line is from The Library. She goes, "Look, there it is. That's what it'll sound like when one of you spots it." Like, phenomenal line. That was kind of early in her, time with the gang. And you're like, oh, this is the kind of girl we're gonna get. Okay, great.
I would get, do you guys ever go through this one? You'll hear fans and you will not remember the line yourself. And they'll go, oh, I love what you said. Like there's a line in Polar Express when I do that line and they go something like, I forget it myself, but I go like, I got these lousy stuff for Christmas. All I got was this stupid underwear. And she goes, I love when you say that. I go, what's that line? And she goes, I said the line, but I don't remember.
I remember that line.
Yeah, I get asked about that line.
Yeah.
And I get, let's see, they've been doing today, war games, they go into the first name on the list, go through Falcon's Maze. I've had 2 people ask me to sign that line. Greece, I think I have like 2 lines, so I don't think I do anything there. Oh yeah, I go, hi, it's Eugene, little deep Shakespearean stuff, They go, what's your name? They go, I throw the baseball, he goes, you're a good pitcher. I go, thank you. They go, what's your name? I go, it's Eugene. Those are my Greece lines.
Nice.
Phenomenal, wow.
Those are the ones I remember.
Impressive.
2 that I can remember, Rocco he's going through stuff in the garage and finds an old childhood toy. And he picks it up and it's a bad Nick Nolte done by me. He's like, who are you? And he's like, Rocco, don't you remember me? It's me, your favorite childhood toy, Mr. Onion Head. And Rocco squeezes him tight, and this is my favorite line there. He goes, I love you, Mr. Onion Head. So out there. And then for Crocker, one of the early seasons where he gets knocked out of his classroom, out a window, he's like, Gah! And looks down and goes, who done this well?
Oh my gosh. Any other from the
When you do something episodic, like you're week to week, so when they bring in other characters, is that something when you're on the cast, like they walk in and say, hey, you're Eddie the con man this week, and you're gonna be, whomever.
Yeah, that would happen a lot on Rocco. Like, besides, oh, Rocco, and hey, Blody and Squirmy, they would say, oh, you're the butcher, and the butcher sound, whatever, maybe do this accent, or you're, like you said, mermaid number 2, or pirate number 4. And so, yeah, they'll add additional voices so that they can cap the salaries they have to pay each other. I think up to 3 voices, so they just try to get everybody at 3. And so sometimes some of your voices might sounding very the same. Like,
that gives me a panic attack every time I walk in. They're like, oh, by the way. I'm like, no.
By the way.
And I'm just like, who? What is it? What do they look like? What are we doing? Like, this just makes me so nervous.
I got lucky because I want to plug this cartoon. It's called Exploding Kittens. It's coming out on Netflix in July. And they threw something at me. I was just doing the utility. They said, we want a voice of an animatronic rat from the Bayou. And I'm like,
what do you do with
and
that?
I love college football. I don't know if you follow college football. Ed Orgeron was the coach of LSU. Oh, we feel we're playing a good game right now. Joe Burrow's playing some good football. We play tighter defense. We're going to win this game. After halftime, I believe in LSU. Go Tigers. And that's the voice I pitched to them. And I go, that's too cartoony and too weird. I go, it's a real guy.
It's a real person.
So I ended up having to pitch it up to make it a little bit more legible, and the trailer is like, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't having a good time with you. So it's a little bit higher, closer to Red Fox. You big dummy, I'm gonna give you 5 across your lips. But Ed Orgeron was that inspiration only because they threw it at me, and I went, who could I access that? Oh my God, because Jim Cummings is so wonderful in Princess and the Frog, because Jim is from New Orleans.
Good.
Yeah, that little stink bug. But I just knew that Ed Orgeron, man. Somebody got to do him. It's good. Look him up. You gonna like him. Go Tigers.
That's right. I'm not, being a woman in Hollywood is interesting because, age matters. It shouldn't, but it does. And everyone's like, oh, it's getting better. It is, but it's not gone away. And I'm excited, though, to get older because the texture that you have, I don't have that. And as you know, you age, your voice changes and you get like lower and things shift. And I'm excited because right now I can still play like a little 6-year-old mushroom or whatever. But whenever I'm finally like a mom, and like 20 years from now, maybe I can be like this super suave with like texture in my. I can't even do it. Like I don't even
But
have it.
it's somebody that you meet that pulls that out of you,
That's
right?
what you think, but there is no texture. I'm down here and I can drive.
Here's what we're saying. But you can, you will. Because here's what I say about people like, I don't know if I can do voices. I go, if you have a puppy, you can do a voice.
Yeah.
It's like you're
This is my little doggy. You're gonna do my dog. And you're gonna take a bath today, huh?
You're gonna take a bath. You're doing a character. It's because that form brings something out of you that you pretend that's the way I communicate to this thing. And that's really what we're doing, is just pretending. And so
I can see that was wrong. So I know that's all. I'm just pretending I'm him.
So there's no effort there. So for the whatever voice that hasn't formed in you yet, if you meet that person or see it on screen and you fall in love with it, it'll come out.
I'll just like damage my throat to get it to happen.
Yeah, you'll damage your throat. You'll smoke. Take up smoking.
All right, so hookers and smoking, and okay, this is a really wholesome panel. Are there any?
Planet Funcom does not endorse any of those.
No, we're kidding. Don't do drugs, kids. Any other questions? Yeah.
All right, you've all done all kinds of work, from stand-up, live action, etc., etc. Do you have a different type of warm-up for each job that you do, or do you have a favorite one that just covers everything?
Interesting question. Did you guys hear that in the back? Cool. I don't know, guys. Do you have?
This is interesting because you're from musical theater. I just joined a group called Tin Can Brothers. They do a show called Spies Are Forever.
Yeah, okay.
They asked me to do a guest song on it, and I was so intimidated. But they were many mumbling miser, making midnight music in the moonlight, my teen eyes, many. And I'd never done that before, and I go, this is good. I should use that for voiceover. If I know I'm doing Crocker or a screaming voice, I'll just do the basic A, E, I, O, U. But there's no one that, I think there's one that's general for all of them, but definitely for music, you gotta do those scales to be able to kind of hit the notes you're supposed to, or if you have to sing a song in animation, you wanna do the ha, 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 ha. But other than that, you just go in and do.
There's nothing for there. What's wrong? There's nothing there. It's just nothing there.
I think it depends on, it depends on you too, obviously. Like every single body is different. I'm very sensitive. So if I have too much sugar, I don't really drink too much anymore. Not that I had like a crazy time, but like there were some moments where like, oh, maybe I'd have 2 glasses of wine at dinner the night before. And I would notice like my throat, like I didn't have my power fully. So like I don't drink, I don't smoke.
What do you do? Subtle innuendos follow, must be something inside.
So yeah, I drink tea with like lots of honey and lemon, and I also find that like my voice is most warm when my body is warm, so I try to like work out or stretch a little bit in the morning if I know I have a long session, because if my body is warm, my throat is warm. And then I do vocal warm-ups for singing, and oftentimes if I need my full range, I will sing songs from Phantom of the Opera in my car. Not trying to be perfect, but just to get the whole range, when Christine does her whole like, ah, that whole thing. I just like sing all of that. And then I'm like, now I can do anything. Like we have warmed up everything, and so now we're good. But yeah, my body is very sensitive. Some people can like go clubbing until 3 in.the morning, smoke half a pack of cigarettes, and wake up 2 hours later, and they can just work for 8 hours. And I'm like, that has never been me. So it just like it's different. Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, the Rat Pack philosophy.
Mine is, I never thought of a warm-up per se. As far as working, it's more of a human answer. I like to be comfortable. It's like anything else in life. If you're with your friends, you're with your pals, you're comfortable. Now, okay, I'll give you an example. Like, we did Polar Express, okay? Now, before you start a movie, you get together, you do a thing called a table read. Get together, you go through the script, blah, 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 blah. And I'm sitting across from friggin' Tom Hanks. I never met the guy. I'm there, I'm like, I could not talk. And you talk and you kibitz with your friends, how things, and I couldn't say a word. So we did like an 8-hour thing at table read. I didn't say one word. I was so scared. So I go and I go, look, schmuck, you're gonna be doing this film for 10 weeks. You gotta start talking to this guy. So the next day I forced myself. I just said the first thing, I go, you're such a nice guy, Mr. Hanks. I go, are you religious? And he goes, yes, I am. I'm very religious. I'm Greek Orthodox, blah, blah, blah. And we started talking. And I just found out, however comfortable you are, if I'm comfortable I'm with my friends, I can do anything. But if you're working with can you curse here? Can you say something?
Well, we've already talked about it.
If you're working with an asshole, or a jerk, like there was a question earlier about a new person on the set. And when you're like let's say you're, like I've done appearances on shows like The Facts of Life or Magnum PI, you go on, and this is a cast, they all know each other. And you're like the new kid in town. It's like being a new kid in school. The cool people will say, hi Eddie, it's nice to meet you, I like your work, but sometimes they're jerks and they're cold, and aloof, and you'll meet people like that too, and it hurts your performance. So I found you get comfortable, talk and meet the people, and then I'm really good. And also the director can make you comfortable, like that. However, if I'm comfortable with people, I can do anything. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm going to start to bring this panel to a close. So where can they find you on social media?
I'm at Carlos Alice Rocky on Instagram, on Twitter, and on TikTok. And please check out Rock, Paper, Scissors on Nickelodeon with Tom Lennon, Ron Funches, and myself, and Melissa Villaseñor, who's awesome. I play Scissors. And check out Exploding Kittens, but that's where you can find me.
Talking about this at lunch. It's funny, I was talking about the lunch with my pals. They're on all these different things. I'm a one-trick pony in that too. I'm a Facebook nut. I'm a Facebook addict. I'm a compulsive joke writer. I write jokes. I post pictures every day. I'll do like 20 posts on Facebook. But I'm limited to 5,000 friends, but I have a lot of followers. So look for me on Facebook every day. Now there's a lot of fake pages. You'll see different 80s and fake pages because you can't get them off. Somebody puts something on Facebook and you can't delete it. So there's all these old pages there. And there's some gnarly pages from when I was taking my meds. I was doing some creepy stuff. So there's some bad pages. There's literally a page called Eddie Deason is a Creep, which is horrible, but it exists on Facebook. I don't think it exists anymore, but the page is still there. But my page is there to see a picture of me and my mom. That's my page. And Facebook is my passion. I eat, sleep, go to the bathroom, and I'm on Facebook. That's my life.
He's changed his name to Eddie Zuckerberg.
All press is good press, right? I am on all the social medias, Instagram, and I started a YouTube channel in December, and I'm trying to do some more long form stuff, which is what this little thing was. And I'm just trying to vlog, like coming to cons, and I did a little reaction series, like reacting to the original Avatar and stuff like that. I'm at Michaela Mostly, because it's mostly me. Ha ha ha, I get it? Anyway. And then on TikTok, it's just my full name, Michaela Jill Murphy, which is a lot of letters. And there's hopefully, fingers crossed, video game production takes a long time, but next year a big old video game is coming out that I was a part of, and that's all I can say, but I'm very excited. It's a remake of things that they're doing remakes of. That's all I can give you. But yeah, I'm excited for that, and then hopefully, I don't know, hopefully you'll be able to catch my face on camera doing something soon, thanks to the scene study class, so we'll see. But yeah, I'm on social media all the time, so follow me if you want, and I'm sorry if you do.
Excellent. Well, Michaela Jill Murphy, Carlos L. Zaraki, and Eddie Deason, thank you all very much for sharing this time with us, for visiting us here in the QC, and they'll be around the rest of the weekend. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.